Okay, sorry about that. I muted myself for now.
All right, you're fine.
All right, so this is the basic boiler overview. Here we have a single burner, dual fuel, natural gas and oil. Has everything on here, all of the um, limit switches, all the I/O and the valves and everything on this screen is just a basic overview. And then we have on the purge screen here, we have all the trips and the permissives for the purge as just a quick look for the operators. And then this screen here, we have the pilot burner and the natural gas burners. Again, there's the trips from the first out. So this is a quick overview. And here is for the oil. And if you want to look at the total first outs for the whole system is here. And it's just a quick login screen for shutdown and password changes and any maintenance that needs to be done. At the moment, we don't have anybody. It's set for the default user, so we don't have anybody set up for it yet. So that's why you're able to see all this stuff at the moment. And we have the alarm screen for any current alarms that are on right now. So there's this was the alarm that was on. I was just testing this earlier for any burner was on, and then we have the alarm history.
Hey, Nick.
Yep.
This is Tim. These folks are looking at a furnace, but wouldn't the screens be very similar?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
this is.
they have a furnace application, right? I mean, we're showing them a boiler because that's our start. You have like a standard package, right?
Yeah. So this would be almost exactly the same. Just the picture here would be different, and it depends on what kind of fuel that you're looking at, natural gas or oil.
Yeah.
Oil.
No oil, just natural gas? Okay, then these would be tailored to whatever your needs are. We could just take the oil out of here, so this line and the atomizing steam line would be gone. And so you just have the combustion air, or not even, we'd have the pilot and the gas. So
This might seem like a silly question,
sure.
but you'll say you'll take out that string for the oil. Does that mean you're going to hide it or you're going to eliminate it?
Eliminate it.
Okay.
We could hide it if you wanted to, but we would
No.
about eliminating it.
If it's not needed, I'd prefer it not be there.
That's fine, yeah. Everything is it's pretty much modular on here. The code is the same way too. Everything is based on configurations. All right, so we're not doing the oil, so let's, this right here, this P means that the pilot burner is in program mode and it is set to go on and off automatically. So if we just click on the pilot, we can check and see. So this is A for automatic, M for manual, and it changed to operator. So I'm just going to leave that back on for auto for the moment. So the purge that we have here, I have everything set up as a simulation logic. If we had the actual code in here, we'd have tons and tons of faults everywhere, so I don't have the I/O set up. So the simulation logic, I have the purge time can be configured, and at the moment I have it set just for 15 seconds. Just make it easier on me to quickly count down. Oop, hold on, let me stop this. I want to switch this to gas for you guys. You're not using oil. This would be gone as well. Like I said, you can configure the time for whatever you need. Normally, I believe the purge would be 60 seconds. The purge is complete. We don't need to start the pilot since it's in program mode. Burner gas is in operator mode, so that needs to be started. And it automatically starts the pilot mode. So here we have the ignition. See that the ignition is on, and we see that the flame scanner detects that the pilot flame is on. Gives it a few seconds to enable the pilot is on before we start burner gas is in ignition. Now that we see that the ignition gas or the main flame is on, then we can turn off the pilot. and then burner gas becomes on. So now we are good. Now the system is running. And since we are in operator mode, we can go back here and we can turn this off. And basically it acts as if it trips the system. It turns off everything. However, the only alarm we get is that any burner is on during this time. That it doesn't actually show up here as an alarm, but we do have an indicator. On my screen, though, for some reason, when I'm running this as a simulation, I hear a large beeping in my headphones. So I'm going to have to come over here and just acknowledge that we have this just to turn it off for myself. So if we turn this on in automatic, we don't even have to turn this on. We can just say purge start. As soon as purge is done, it will automatically start the whole system. All right, ignition is on. Let's use pilot flame scanner. Gives it a second to make sure that it is on.
Hey, Nick, who did the animation there on the flame?
That was there. I copied this over from a couple different projects.
Did you? I'm just asking. That's cool. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, this was already there. It's just a
Okay.
1/2 second flasher, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. Then in order to shut this off, since it's in program mode, you want to turn this back to manual and turn this off. Then once it's done, post-purge is in progress, and again, all these timers are configurable in the program itself.
Right, based on the application, right? Yeah.
Yes. So let's say this right here is the forced draft fan, and this is the induced draft. So let's just say I turn this off. I'm going to put it back to auto. So this is stopped. This one is running. I'm going to, since this is in auto now, start the purge. This turns on to running. So everything turns on when you want to start the purge. The induced draft at the moment turns on before the forced draft. So if these pumps were not running at the time, these are configured in secondary purges here. A secondary trip does not actually trip the purge. It just permits it from starting. We have primary trips on here, and these are, like I said, all configurable in the program. So if I wanted to, let's say, start primary trip 7, I can configure it here, yes or no, and then type whatever I wanted here. So change the name. So let's see, I'm going to start the pilot. Okay, now that the pilot is on, I have the simulation logic here. Let's say the upstream pilot gas should be open. I am going to turn this off. And it trips. You can see here that it is trip, it is flashing. failed in the de-energized state. Come here to alarms. These are the first outs for each of the trips. Failed to leave de-energized state as the pilot itself. Then it tripped on the purge, and it also tripped on the pilot first out. Again, here we have the burners, burner faceplate, so you can see easy access. The gas, the oil, pilot and the gas. Again, this oil won't be here since you don't have it. The purge first out trips. Oops. What would you guys like to see on here?
Well, Brian, one thing that, I mean, I don't know who can just, one thing is just kind of a general sales pitch would probably be good for them as to what, differentiates your all solution versus a standard solution. Yeah.
Hey,
You mean like a black? Are you on, Brian?
yeah, good morning. I apologize. Right when hi, sorry, this is Brian Young. I'm getting everything ready to talk to you guys, and my network service stuff went down, so sorry about that. So I missed the intro. I work with the guys on the line. When you say a standard system, what do you mean by a standard system?
With the Honeywell flame relays, like black box type of, system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So our system, and we've been doing this this type of work for about 25 years, starting out with PLC5s, working now up through the Logix family of processors. And our solution's based on standard off-the-shelf products. So there's nothing special in these products that they're dedicated for this type of application. They're off-the-shelf, buy it from your local distributor type of products. So what we do is we take these open products and we develop a system that is adherent to industry standards, in this case NFPA standards. But in doing so, it is an open system, meaning you can go in and you can make modifications, you can add and you can change screens, and you can do all that neat kind of stuff, as well as take advantage of the connected enterprise. Corey, have you talked about connected enterprise much, or is that something I need to go into?
No, Brian, feel free. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So when we say connected enterprise, really that's just a philosophy of getting information from your factory floor devices, whether they be smart devices like a smart drive or up at a PLC level, and getting that up through Ethernet IP, which is our standard communication network, going through our switches up to an operator interface, kind of like what you see here for general operation, but up into your data gathering, information solution, even up into an MES layer if required. But all the thing with our solution and the connected enterprise philosophy is that everything is open. So if you or if your favorite integrator or even Rockwell or a Rockwell person or our distributor network people, it's open for changes and modifications, and the knowledge base is very deep with within our, our network, our partner network and distribution network. So that's where we are, and not to, I don't want to bash competition at all, but let's just talk about open systems versus dedicated purpose or black box type systems. Typically, with a black box system, and there's other businesses within my business team that have similar black box solutions, but generally they're general purpose. They get the job done. They're readily available. Really, the issue comes when there's a problem, or when there's an issue, or when something needs to be added or changed. Some black boxes or dedicated purpose boxes are fixed in I/O and fixed in functionality. So if you wanted to add another burner or another gas type, or you wanted and something needs to be added, one may have to go to another brand new model. Therefore, your first investment is not protected. You have to buy something else. Or in some cases, some manufacturers don't allow you to work on their product, and you have to pay them to work on their product, and that becomes expensive, whether it's a block of time, if you will, or if it's an annual maintenance agreement to do something like that. But so that's in one case if there's an issue, or maybe you need to make a change. Or what we've been seeing a lot of in the last couple of years, especially as we've been talking about the connected enterprise, or there's been other terms out there, the Internet of Things, or within the automotive market, the saying is shop floor to top floor, but basically it's getting data. Some of those dedicated purpose boxes have very specialized communication networks and very fixed data structures. And what that means to you as a customer is that if you start to put in some of these information solutions, it's not as flexible, and it's not as open, and it might not be as easy to get the information you want time-stamped up to an operator interface or a master control screen like you might think. So that's a huge difference when you talk about protecting an investment and being able to upgrade and move with the times as you see changes, or you see issues and need maintenance, or as you need to acquire data, show data, compare data, have historical data. That's a big feature I think you see with our system. Everything we're talking about here is on our Ethernet IP network. There's no special tools or interface modules or anything required. The data's there, it's open, the networks are there, they're open. So I think that's a big plus for a customer, especially when making that initial investment. You want to make sure that you can maintain it, support it, add to it, talk to it for the next 15, 20 years. We're looking at systems now that were installed 30 years ago, and the only reason, and they're still talking to our newer information solutions. And the only reason customers are talking to us about changing out those PLC5 systems, PLC5 has been around for 30 plus years. We don't make them anymore, and so now it's very expensive. But a 30-year run on one processor is a pretty compelling story, and we see that same thing happening for our Logix family. So, for the next 30 years, you want to be able to have the same processor that is completely supported by not only Rockwell but our distributor network. So that's sorry if I rambled a little bit, but that's a quick sales pitch of why you might want to consider us.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. So mean, is there any questions or things, extra that, any of you from Aleris would like to see or have? I'm going to take that as a maybe. All
Yeah,
right.
when we were talking about this weeks ago about how to, what you'd like to see, our understanding was you had some technical, you wanted to see what our code looks like, you wanted to see what our architecture looked like, or what our HMI screens look like. I don't know if, Nick, you got to go through complete, back and forth of our overview screen, and then some of the I think I came in on a couple troubleshooting screens.
Yes.
But if
Hey
there's
Brian,
any
he went through
just
Nick.
basic fundamental shooting, I don't know your experience. Yeah.
Hey Brian, all I was going to say, this is Tim, is yeah, Nick went through pretty much and showed him various screens, and you're right, he ended up with some kind of troubleshooting where you'd see first outs and such, right, if there's an issue.
Okay.
Now
Gotcha.
he didn't go through the code itself. I don't know whether the folks want to actually see, Brian, he had to code up behind the HMI. Typically people are more interested in the write the HMI than they are the program itself. Right. So he didn't go through the program or the programming.
Well, I'm interested in both. This is Brian from Aleris. I'm interested in both. And can y'all hear me?
Yeah, hey
Yeah.
Brian, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm just checking. But
Yes.
I know a lot of this stuff is, I say it over and over and over again. I'm new to Aleris, so don't take my word as gospel, but when you're getting these screens out there, the operators to have something that they're familiar looking at, like whatever they got now, whether it's a push button operator station, they do have a few screens out there that they can look at,
Right.
but they need to be able to pull something up that they're familiar with.
Yep.
And then all these other bells and whistles they'll gradually buy into it. And that sales pitch that Brian gave, it was self-explanatory, where the changes are easily made here, or whether we get someone from your group to come do it or whatever. And after all said and done, is there part of this package, is there some type of training for our electricians?
Hey Brian, this is Tim. There can be, right? We've done training. We've done formal training with people, and we've also done, I'll call it on-the-job training, right, where a guy comes out and helps you commission the furnace, and he just works with your folks, right, for a week or whatever it takes to commission, and that's kind of the training. So we can do it. We can do it
Sure.
two ways, right? Whatever you want to do, we can do. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Hands-on's good, but sitting
yeah,
down, I'd like to see both.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my opinion.
This is Joanna Wilson. I do have a quick question. To me, this looks very similar to a Honeywell Experion system, just because I've had a lot of hands-on with that. Looks like a
Right.
DCS front end. Do you do any loop tuning through this program?
Actually, we do. I don't know if you have it, Nick, right? But yes, we do. I don't know if it's in this.
We're talking about the CCS here, correct?
That's right, on the combustion side. Now, that might not be in here, but hey, we definitely do. But I don't know if you have that, Nick. This is the BMS side right here, correct?
Correct. This is strictly BMS, but like you said, we do the CCS as well.
Yep. And there's like, what do we take, like 10 data points to establish the curves, et cetera, on the combustion side. I know that much. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
And to your point, Brian,
Hey,
yeah,
Brian.
we tweak the HMI to your needs.
Hey Brian, this is Corey. I think one of the things that we want to stress in all this is at the end of the day, when this system's put in, it's a ControlLogix PLC system, and flexibility that gives the customer is whether it's a local integrator or a field service engineer from Rockwell or your group, pretty much anybody can work on this because it's standard off-the-shelf items from Rockwell. Is that a fair statement to make?
Yes.
Yes, it
yep.
is.
Yep, absolutely. And what Tim was referring to a little bit earlier from a training perspective is that there's and this is just like any other manufacturer. There's general training on the product itself. So I know our local distributors and in some local Rockwell offices, they'll offer training on just fundamental training on how to power up, how to connect to, how to upload, download, how to do rudimentary programming. So that's one, formal in-class type of training. But the second part, what we absolutely like to do is once we get something installed, is have an informal ad hoc training where we run through all the screens with all the operators on all the shifts, so they can see what's going where, what controls what, how to bounce between the operator screens, and if necessary, I don't know your security level, but depending on security level, you could bounce into the program to take a look at where the rungs are and what they're doing and what the emergency string is and stuff like that. So that's a second training that's more specific to the application. So one, the training through the distributor and your local sales office is more product, and then the ad hoc training associated with the project is more application specific. But absolutely, all these products are, standard off the shelf. Nothing, nothing different between this ControlLogix processor and one that we use to run a conveyor line. They're all very solid industrial PLCs.
Now, can you do trending and reporting off of this?
Yeah. So that's where you get into the kind of the information side of things, and I don't know if from a Purdue model perspective, it would be level 2, 3, but basically it's information gathering and display. But we have individual software packages that allow you to timestamp historical information, and then you can trend that many different ways, whether you do it on a screen. Certainly you'll be saving it somewhere. So you can do single server, redundant server offsite, depending on your application. But then you can go one step further and display that information on different type, mobile devices if required. And you can get up into some cloud storage, saving, trending, stuff like that. But within and like other manufacturers, the processor's doing the work, but generally it's offloading all the data gathering to a server or workstation of some sort. But that's absolutely available in our solutions. And again, it's standard for us, for our product line or our connected enterprise. It's all standard Ethernet IP, all standard switches, generally managed switches for the control aspect, but it's all nothing special product, all standard off-the-shelf stuff. Now the setup of the the historian and the trending, that takes a little work. That's not out of the box and bam, it's running, because you have to select time slices and data to log and what it looks like and stuff, but completely open application development products.
Now, would a trending package be an add-on to this, or is it with it but requires a separate license?
Well, so and I may get the licensing of the software incorrect, and I can get you more specific. So so if you were to buy this BMS kit, you're going to get code, ladder logic that will be in the processor, and you're going to get code, which is your HMI. You'll get all that stuff, and then you'll get the development packages for that stuff. So it's just for the BMS alone. Now, if you want to add a software package on, like a data acquisition software package, we could certainly include that. But right now, we're just talking about BMS, but we could certainly tailor it to whatever. I mean, when you buy a BMS solution, it's not a part number. You know, it's not going to be Aleris 1.0. We're going to take some of our historical knowledge, develop a package, and then add on whatever you want from a data acquisition perspective. So it's not like it's excluded from anything. It's just we try to figure out what you want and provide you a complete solution, which would include the BMS and the CCS and the information gathering. You know, whatever you define as a solution, we try to provide that.
That was good enough. One of my other questions about development license versus a runtime license, and
gotcha. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
That, and well, I'm not real familiar with control logics. I mean, my background's all GE and Wonderware.
Yep.
Wonderware came with a trending package, so if I wanted to look at something live, I could do it. But we also shipped data to our IBA analyzer where we collected all the data.
Yep.
And I believe that's the trend here. You know, they got IBA over on the mill, and my thought on that is to stay with it, and whatever we want to track, we just ship it there, or we may have to get another database because there's going to be so much information out there. What they have over there might not be large enough right now.
Right. No. Okay. I apologize. I didn't. Okay. So yes, you would require a development package for the processor and HMI. So that's your one package for development. But then you would require a development / runtime license package for the operator interface. And let's just say it's what in our vernacular is called historian and Vantage Point, which helps you with collecting and saving data and then storing data out. There's another package. When I say package, these are all pieces that fit together depending on your needs, but there's also something called Transaction Manager, which I don't think you'll need. But as far as all licenses, you'd need the development for the processor and HMI, and then on the top end or the information side, you would need a license for the development / runtime. And I'm sure Corey can get you prices for or information on all those various software packages.
Wonderful.
So yeah, sorry I didn't quite get your first question. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
This is Golden. I've got just a quick thing. So a lot of what's going on at Aleris, you know, sometimes like new install, like let's take one of the soaking pits in hot mill, for example. If they're going to do the controls upgrade on a pit, and then if they want to also address the burner controls, they can use the same system to do both, correct? They don't have to have two separate systems. They can use that control logics processor and do both processes.
Well, okay. So now we're getting into kind of the interpretation and semantics of NFPA. Currently, our interpretation of that, you know, split off or split systems is that you would require a logics for the BMS or the safety side, and then you would need a logics for the process or the combustion side. So that's now how we design things. However, Within a NFPA, there's that interpretation clause, if you will. And what we're exploring now, and it's not going to be available for some time, certainly less than a year, I hope, but we have a product line called GuardLogix. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but GuardLogix is a safety PLC. And this safety PLC is basically one side has memory processing in I/O for the safety side of things, and one side is for, has its own memory I/O processor for the process side of things. And what we're looking at is taking our current solution or interpretation of two PLCs, one for process, one for safety, and putting them both into a GuardLogix processor. I do this, or our team does this on another similar business that requires two processes, or a safety and a process, to be in two processors, but we've convinced that board that we've documented that we can put them in a GuardLogix, and this is for 4,000, 5,000, up to 50,000 ton presses, which is and that's an ANSI-based standard. So what we're working on now is trying to come up with that documentation and certification, and then get that presented to a third-party company to quantify that we know what we're doing and this is applicable. But until then, which is probably, I'm thinking 8, 10, 12 months from now, we separate those functions into two PLCs, or two GuardLogix, or ControlLogix, sorry.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So one advantage in the cast houses, if they're, I think they're working on some projects to implement Historian and Vantage Point and stuff, Viewpoint, sorry, stuff like that. So with that software, they won't need any, since they already have that for their control systems they're working on. If they were to do a burner management system as well, they'd already have those licenses and be able to get diagnostics and trending basically already.
Yeah, so is this a Rockwell product?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, if they have enough, because things are limited to tags, but if they have enough tags, and they only, if they have 5 points or whatever they need to pull in, they could certainly, and it's all Ethernet IP, absolutely no issue.
Okay. All right, well, anybody else got any more questions, thoughts? Okay, well, Aleris, I appreciate your time, and Rockwell, thanks again for helping them out and getting them some information on this. I appreciate it.
Hey, no worries, Corey. Colton, no worries.
Yep, thank you very much. And again, I apologize for being late.
No problem. Aleris, I'll record the session, so I'll send it out to I think there's 3 of you on here, and then the rest of the people that couldn't make it. So thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.